Most of us have different opinions on wonder weapons, and if we talked about them, we'd probably disagree on a couple of them. But genuinely, I think that everyone watching this video can agree that these wonder weapons are very questionable additions, regardless if they're good or bad. But rather than keep you waiting, let's get into the wonder weapons. And for the first weapon, we have the Apothecan Servant, and I genuinely wonder as to why this even never got nerfed. It is a great wonder weapon, maybe just a little too great. After all, it has infinite damage, infinite range, and has a fairly okay amount of ammo. The only real drawback on this weapon is the ammo. You get about 10 in the clip. Other than that, you have nothing much to it. If you're using this by itself, necessarily, it isn't an extremely overpowered weapon because, well, only 10 shots, really, it isn't that much. But if you have gobblegums on, you could easily get your ammo back and even more, which is extremely overpowered when you have this and can spam it. This gun can take you and will take you past round 100 and does it in style, making it one of the best, if not the best wonder weapon of all time. I love how Shadows of Evil looks and its aesthetic and the whole H.P. Lovecraft era and design. But I mean, come on, shoving your whole hand up an alien's butt just to do black hole portal magic? I mean, it sounds a little bit ridiculous, but you actually see it. It doesn't look too half bad, does it? Regardless of actual gameplay, the whole aesthetic of the gun itself is really odd and something we've never seen before in COD Zombies. I don't even know if you would call this something that fits in COD Zombies, but it kind of feels like a little out of place, you genuinely have to admit. I mean, the weapon has literal eyeballs, a mini mouth, and also is extremely oversized. Another drawback of this weapon, it doesn't kill Marquas. In fact, if you do try to use it, you will down, just like me. It only kills zombies, bugs, and also meatballs, so you have to be wary of how you use it. You can't just spam it on a Marqua and think they're gonna die. It's a good wonder weapon, but I wonder how it got in COD Zombies. I love Call of the Dead, but I absolutely hate the VR11. This has got to be one of the worst wonder weapons we've ever seen in COD Zombies, and it's pretty easy to tell by the gameplay. On paper, this wonder weapon sounds wonderful. I mean, you have 9 shots just to shoot and turn zombies into humans, making them active monkey bombs. Essentially, you just got monkey bombs, but with a little bit more in the reserves. But the problem with the VR11 is that it's very unreliable. Unfortunately for the VR11, once shooting a zombie, they will run in a very specific direction in one direction only. This can cause a horde to split and cause into directions, which eventually could ruin your horde and even down you. And also, it doesn't have very much ammo, which really at the end of the day is another drawback. I mean, seriously, only 9 in the reserves is a really difficult thing to deal with, especially if the wonder weapon is bad. But I will admit, the ability to calm down George Romero once shot is actually pretty useful, especially if you're not near water or a puddle. I genuinely wish the weapon got buffed, but unfortunately it really never did, and if anything, it's just a really bad version of the monkey bomb, which of course isn't available on this map, and to be honest, I think it's because of the VR11. It's sort of useful in co-op, but when you're playing solo like a regular player in Call of the Dead on Black Ops 1, it proves to be useless and really is a waste of one of your weapon slots. It's not even worth getting Mule Kick with this weapon. Not at all. I've always understood remaking wonder weapons because, well, they could be really iconic like the Wonderwolf, but remaking them into something worse is absolutely a travesty. The Wonderwolf DG Sniper is a very worse variant of the Wonderwolf original. It adds a scope and insists that the player gets headshots to actually do a good decent amount of damage. When hip firing, this can be extremely inaccurate, unless of course you have Deadshot Daiquiri, but most players in Black Ops 4 didn't run that garbage perk. It has more ammo of course, but it deals less damage, and it feels like it doesn't kill nearly as many zombies. I mean, just look at the gameplay right now. Sure, it's taking out some when I aim in, but when hip firing, it more so acts like a bullet weapon, and that's the main issue with this weapon. It doesn't kill as much zombies as it once did. It more feels like a stun grenade from Cold War Zombies. I mean, I just shot a dog and I had to take 2 shots just to kill him. This gun feels like a tickle taser with the scope on it. It doesn't really represent the Wonderwolf DG2, and I may not be the biggest fan of the Wonderwolf DG2 from World at War, but really it was better than this heap of a mess wonder weapon. To me, I believe Treyarch could have just done a lot better, even if it required them to rework the whole weapon itself, rather than just slapping on a scope and adding more ammo and reducing the damage. Personally, I think doing stuff like that is just kind of really lazy and just kills the whole vibe of the weapon. Overall, I don't know why they remade it. I hate to do this to Black Ops 1, but the Winter's Howl is dog water wonder weapon. On the lower rounds, it's okay, it's not half bad of a wonder weapon, but once you get into the higher rounds, primarily 10 to 14, it starts to become really bad. The problem with this wonder weapon is that the damage of it is extremely horrible. You have to shoot multiple times in order to take out hordes of zombies, and that necessarily isn't a huge issue. It's more so of that problem of ammo. To kill a zombie with the Winter's Howl, you have to shoot them at least 2 times, but the problem is you only have about 40 in the whole magazine and reserve, and on around 14 to 15 to 16, there's about 40-ish zombies that you have to kill in order to go to the next round. You see the problem here? You only have enough for 1 round and 1 round only, and even then you have to shoot a zombie at least twice to kill it. So that means to efficiently use this weapon, you have to horde every single time you use it and only kill zombies once in a horde. And now if you're defending it, you might be, well, that ain't too bad, or you might be thinking, well, that isn't half bad. But another issue with this wonder weapon is that it doesn't have very much range. You have to use this up close. If you're not using this up close, the weapon gets even worse and you have to use 3 to 4 shots just to kill zombies. And considering the fact you only have 9 in the magazine, it makes it really difficult to actually use this weapon without speed cola. I don't know why they didn't just update and buff this weapon, because you have weapons like the ray gun and thunder gun and keynote or totem, and really it makes no sense as to why not buff it when the thunder gun exists and you could get to round 100 with that weapon alone, but with the Winter's Howl you could barely make it to round 16. It is a really cool concept, don't get me wrong. I really like the idea of having a freeze gun, but unfortunately Treyarch back in the day in Black Ops 1, they didn't really buff their wonder weapons or even nerf them. They came out how they were, and that was final. If it had a little bit more ammo and damage, it probably wouldn't be on this list. Finally, we have the jet gun from COD Zombies, and genuinely I think every player can say that they hate this wonder weapon from Call of Duty Zombies. Once again, it follows the formula of it sounds good on paper, but really it is a bad wonder weapon. You have to run through the map of transit, collecting each and every single part that's scattered around the map, and if you overheat the weapon by overusing it, the weapon breaks and you have to go and find every single part once again, rebuild it, and pray to God it doesn't break once again. It technically has infinite damage, but really it's not very good because it doesn't have much range, much damage, and you can't even run with the thing. I think you actually move faster if you just hold a grenade for 4 seconds and then quickly just throw it away from you so you don't die, which really shows how slow this wonder weapon is, and it's very inefficient and not very useful at all. I genuinely believe Treyarch just wanted you to go on a wild goose chase and explore this giant vast map, and really didn't think of the player limitations that we had to deal with on last gen consoles. I mean, transit was filled with fire, denizens, and also fog, so finding these parts, I couldn't even imagine being the original finders of them. I mean, seriously, this would have took forever to find if it was just up to me. And the crazy thing about this wonder weapon too, it isn't even worth it at all. No matter what you do, even if you do high rounds, it's not worth it. You're better off just using the ray gun or a pack-a-punch Galil. I really love innovation by Treyarch, but this isn't innovation. I mean, come on, it's just so bad. But hey, if you made it as far, you deserve a cookie and I love you. Make sure you check out the links in the description, join the Discord, make sure you subscribe. If I hit 2,000 before June, I will be doing a face reveal. But other than that, gamers, I will see you guys next one. Hope you have a wonderful day. See ya.